Wow, I am shocked. Fred the crab, the crayfish, actually, sorry, he is still alive. I did originally put him back into the tank, and I assumed he was a goner. I simply put him back into the tank because the other smaller 10-gallon tank I put him in to, Benjamin is taking a swipe at Fred over there. Fred is too big to get eaten by Benjamin, so he's gotta find a hiding spot. As you can see, the aquarium has changed, and that's why we're seeing Fred right now, is because the decorations have moved around, and there's a ton more hiding spots. And I've also seen as in my previous video, I've also seen my knife fish enjoy this setup, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep it something similar to this. And I can see that Fred is trying to find a hiding spot somewhere. The only fish that really worries me right now from looking at it is the flower horn. He is getting more and more aggressive, and I'm looking to get a female flower horn and add to the tank possibly. But as I was saying, I did move things around a little bit, and I had to move Frank from the 10-gallon tank. That was several weeks ago, back into this tank because the 10-gallon tank was too small. The lid on the top, he basically crawled out of the aquarium, and I came down in the morning and I found him in the middle of my basement, just looking at me. Good thing he didn't claw me in my toes, but basically he was just wandering around the basement, and now that I know he's still alive and doing well in this tank, that really goes to show you how resilient crayfish are, and I'm very, very happy to see that he's alive. So hopefully you can see, originally I did have a tank set up similar to this, with a lot more leafage, which I really love. It makes the aquarium look really good, even though it's not real plants. The difference now is I took out a little bit of the leafage, but I'm going back to the original look, and there's a ton more nooks and crannies here for all these fish to swim around in and find a home for themselves. And the bigger fish, the bigger they get, the less of a hiding spot they will have. So that is fine with me too, because it does leave them quite a bit of space, more than half the aquarium, to swim at the top. So I'm happy with the setup. Now I have gone and purchased these in a week ago or so. You would have seen these decorations are new. So there is these two additional tree stump decorations in here, and they look absolutely authentic. Compared to my other ones, they're nice too. They're nice as well. But these decorations here are aquarium decorations. These decorations here are also aquarium decorations. But the two were just by the flower horn here, they seem to be a lot better done. And I was debating whether to mix reptile decorations with my freshwater, but seeing how well they look, I had no choice but to do it. Definitely improves the look of the aquarium, makes it look a lot more realistic. So that's the trick. I had to go out and look for tree stump decorations that look a little bit different than my original decorations. Because if I keep just buying the same ones and put them in this tank, eventually it would just look fake. It would just look like, oh, it's the same decoration, just look, maybe it's placed a little differently. So here you can see a lot more variety now, and I think I'm at the point where I'm extremely happy with the tank, for its size and for what I can do with it. And Benjamin seems to absolutely love the cover now. He's a lot more relaxed. I can tell he loves it. So the knife fish loves it as well. He's got enough space there to swim around and nobody's bugging him. I saw a couple of my clown loaches down at the bottom there in that little hiding spot there, as well as my pleco is in there. So that seems to be alright. Yeah, so I believe the pH is back to where it was after I've added some of that chemical. So this is what I wanted to mention to you. Do not feel like you cannot move the decorations around in your tank. As you can see in my videos, I have to move some things around simply because I'm not happy until everybody's happy in the tank, until, like you can see, the crayfish is able to survive alongside with a huge Oscar fish and alongside with a flower horn. Now that's amazing. And also alongside with a knife fish. Now, even though he may have a harder time surviving later on because these guys will get big, there's sufficient decorations here that he, I think, should be able to do it. So I also like the reptilian decorations a little bit better because they seem to be a little bit smoother than some of the aquarium decorations, where I think they're just too sharp and my fish do get scraped up on them. So that's the main idea, is just keep going. Even if you have to make changes, don't make drastic changes to your tank unless your fish are able to handle it. Now, mine are able to handle some changes once in a while, and I do it also not just for the look and for the feel of the tank, but every once in a while when you move your decorations, you'll see that the fish actually swim a little bit better. They look for new cubby holes. They look for new homes. It's almost like as if they arrived as if they swam somewhere, and they're happy because they if you keep the decorations the same all the time for a very long time, it gets very boring to the fish, because in the wild they swim around, they go through different nature scenes, right? So you want to maybe not do it drastically all the time, but once you are happy with what you want, maybe change them around a little bit when you have to clean the gravel underneath, or do slight changes every once in a while. I strongly recommend it because fish love change. From what I noticed over the years is they love new spots. They love to adapt. They love to see the scenery change. So that's all I got for today. And yay, Fred, the crayfish is alive and doing well. That is awesome news. Subscribe to my channel. Watch my other videos. There are tons. I'll keep adding videos. I'm adding them right at the moment, almost on a daily basis, because I want to document everything for you guys. And hopefully, eventually, I'll get some better camera equipment. And once everything is nice and set up, you guys will be able to enjoy it even more. So I want to turn on this other aquarium and show you that this is what we have now in the 55-gallon tank next to the big 90 tank. Actually, to be honest with you, I measured the dimensions. It's actually a little bit smaller than 90, so it's like an 80-gallon tank, and that is not a 90, guys. So sorry about that. But here's the 55, and this is definitely a 55. And in here I have my tester fish. Let me see if I can get this light to go brighter. Oh, there. Hang on. We're gonna have some lighting challenges in these tanks, because some of them, this one is still a little bit finicky. So the plants are alive. This one this one is holding in there, but I don't know if it'll make it. The other one, what I actually have is I have the most sensitive sand here, and I have this little catfish that loves to stir it up, and he's just behind the plants there. So every time he does a bit of stirring up, it goes into the water. Now, even though you don't see that the water is murky anymore, because I've worked on that, the sand does land on top of the plant. So if you have the same sort of an issue where you have some kind of sand that lands on your plants, and normally you would go in there with your hand and shake it off, or whatever the case may be, I actually have something different that I use, because I have Max, which is my green cheek parrot, and sometimes he would drop a feather. So I do collect the big feathers that he drops, and what I actually would do is I would go in to the tank and just gently brush off the plant with the feather. So that actually works really well. If you ever have anything like that happen to your tank and you don't know how to clean that up and you're frustrated, a feather works really good. So this was this. And if you guys ever see dead leaves floating around in my tank, I leave them there on purpose. I absolutely love dead leaves. I think it's the most and coolest looking natural look when I see dead leafage just kind of float around. I absolutely love it. Once in a while, I don't see anything wrong with it. If it gets too many leaves, I'll move it out, but I do love that. So in my tester fish, I have a female swordfish in this tank, and I have a male swordfish. And maybe one day I'll show you guys how they do the sword dance. If I ever get a second male fish, for that, you guys can see how they fight And of course, Max is wanting to be in the video. Hi, Max. Hello, Max. Hello. What you unhappy about? What's the problem? Yes, you're in the video, okay? Everybody should know Max. This is a green cheek conure. He's about a year old. And they're really good pets. They're a bit messy, but they're really awesome. Now that he's a little bit older and a little bit more trained, he's not so messy at all. Except for the cage. He has his own cage that he sleeps in. I may be able to show you that one day, guys. This is his little cubbyhole. I put that there with a weight on the top because he keeps moving this thing because he wants to get at the filter, which I don't know if you can see. The filter has a plastic top on it, and he keeps banging his beak on it because he wants to get in there. That's his toy of the week is the filter, or toy of the month. He just can't get enough of the filter. And he does actually take some baths in the tank too, so he loves the tank. He gets in there and he gets wet, and sometimes I worry that Benjamin is gonna eat him, but I think they're getting along just fine. So that's the update for the 55 gallon. The water is a lot less murky, a lot cleaner. The lighting really makes it worse, but it's actually fairly clean. And this is going to be more of a natural tank, maybe a self-sustaining tank like I mentioned. Oh, the lighting just went down a little bit, and you can see that still fluctuating. I gotta work on that. So, long story short, that was a big battle to get this. Let me fix this light. Sorry. That was a big battle to get this tank for the water to clear up. I've removed the additional filter I had at the top. Now it's just one big filter in the back that's working. And with this is only clear because I'm playing with the light here to fix this, guys. This is only clear because I've done almost a 100%, I would say 95% water change on this tank. And I've done that because I could not fix the water quality. The water quality, it was getting murky all the time because of the sand that originally went up into a fume all over the tank. I've tried. This was my mistake too, with the fine sand, and I mean this is really fine sand. This is sand that was used in a saltwater aquarium at some point, so it's extremely sifted through and fine. So I used the clear water chemical. Now it does not work with sand. Not sand friendly. If you have sand that's murky in the tank and you're trying to get the sand to settle down, the clear water chemical does not work at all. And simply because what the clear water chemical does is, I think what it does is it makes certain particles a little bit heavier so that they fall. I'm not too sure, but whatever it did, it was just a cloud that looked worse than my sand, and it stayed there for like a couple days, and I absolutely had no idea that it would do that and not go away. I think usually when you put it in 24 hours later, it should be crystal clear. It absolutely works on my other tanks. Like, I put that into my Oscar fish tank, and that worked great. I had absolutely no issues. The water cleared up right away, and it's been clear ever since. I think at the beginning of my videos you saw there was a bit of a cloud at the top of my tank, in my Cichlid tank, and that has cleared because of that chemical. I couldn't clear it any otherwise. The filter I have is absolutely superb in the big tank, but yeah, for some reason it needed the chemical to clear the water there, and it worked great. I used the clear water chemical also on my guppy fish tanks. They're all clear now, especially after I replaced the filters. There's absolutely no problems with the water being cloudy or anything like that. And you can see that Benjamin is looking for Frank in the corner. But Frank's already got a cubby hole. He's got a hiding spot somewhere. And, I mean, honestly, I did not think he was out there and alive. So that's the 2 tanks we will be having fun and looking at. Now, this tank will have, hopefully, a lot of natural plants and a lot of guppies, because I'm breeding guppies right now, and I will breed some nice fancy tail guppies for this tank. And it'll be I think it'll be mostly male guppies. I might add females in here also, but I will have something that will control my populations, like maybe a beta fish in here too, or we'll see. Something that will remove anything that would have bred from these. But that's the idea. I'm also waiting on my angelfish to breed, so they might, and the fry from those guys might end up in here. But just very happy that Frank's doing good. The aquarium here is finally clear. And yes, guys, again, please subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I can keep these videos coming, document everything that's going on. The cucumber videos that you saw there, they did show the pH dropped when I added the cucumber. At first, they didn't like the cucumber, but once they figured out it was food, the very next day, these guys were fighting over the cucumber peels. And look at Benjamin. He's got a big scrape on his side from fighting. And I think the flower horn has one on his head, and so on. So that's it for the updates. Talk to you guys later.